up, you guys? Thank you so much for joining me today on the meditation channel. Hi, welcome to my channel. So for those of you who know what I do, I make guided meditations. I talk about spirituality, mindfulness, self-empowerment, all the things that are good for you, good for the soul, good for this planet. And I had a bit of a download today. I had a bit of an inspirational thought, and I wanted to share this information with you guys because this is something that really truly helped me change my relationship with my body, and it really helped me to basically teach techniques to myself on how to heal my body. Now, again, I am not a doctor. I'm just passing on what I do with myself, what works for me, and is hopefully something that will also work for you. And I don't know, for me, it's been extremely powerful and transformational. I have honestly had so many small issues with my body here and there that I've been able to fix with ease by using these techniques. So if this sounds like something that resonates with you, hang around, because I'm going to teach you a couple of powerful techniques that basically can help you help yourself. Okay, so before we start, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That really does help. I love doing this for a hobby and hopefully turn it into a job maybe one day. I do teach on Insight Timer. I also have Spotify, Instagram, all of the things, links below. And by the way, don't forget, I have a 21-day meditation challenge on manifestation and eating disorders. So if this is something that interests you, I'm going to put the links below, and I'm also going to give you a discount code of 50%. So you're getting these 21-day meditation challenge meditations for basically nothing. So I hope you really enjoy them. All right, guys. So the body, this beautiful meat sack that we carry with us in this life, and that unfortunately doesn't seem to always do what we want it to do, right? We get sick, we create injuries. We think sometimes that we're eating the right things for our body, but then we discover later that we might be allergic, or that our body may be rejecting certain things. And essentially, really, we're not really taught on how to listen to our bodies, how to communicate with our bodies. And over the years, I've spent a long time healing myself, and I'm still on that path, and I will probably be on this path until the day I die. But the truth of the matter is that I figured out certain things that essentially have really worked for me. Now, a little bit about my history, guys. I have a history of eating disorders. I suffered from eating disorder from the age of 10 up until I'd say I can't even remember now, probably my mid to late 20s. And it was a long time, a long process. And essentially, I made the decision to heal this relationship with my body because obviously I knew it wasn't going to end well. I was suffering. It's incredibly painful. It's literally self-torture. Any of you out there who have had eating disorders or issues with your body or self-image issues, you know this is like just sucks on so many levels. It just feels like you're wearing a suit that is 6 sizes too big, and it's really uncomfortable and heavy. That's probably the best way I can describe anyone with like body dysmorphia or eating disorders, right? You're constantly uncomfortable in your body, and no matter what you do, it just does not work out for you. It's also consuming, right? It consumes every minute of your day, every minute of your thoughts, and you just basically cannot enjoy life. And I don't know. I just decided that if I'm going to feel like this, if I'm going to be like this, I might as well just do something about it. And so I began to take on the journey to basically talk to my body. And one of the techniques that I did learn was kinesiology. I went to see a kinesiologist way back in the day in Australia. And she gave me some really cool tips. And essentially what she taught me is that the body doesn't lie. We can lie to ourselves, but the body does not actually lie to us. So for instance, there's an exercise with muscle memory. So usually you do it with a facilitator where you place your arms out and they ask you a question and they put pressure on your arm. Now, if you're lying, the arm essentially would get really weak, but if you're telling the truth, it would hold strength. So let's just give you an example. I'll say, hi, my name is Jacqueline. and it would hold, or if I say, hi, my name is Alice, it would just basically, you wouldn't be able to hold the pressure. Now that's all great, right? So I could basically use this technique for literally anything. You can ask the body about anything, whether you're allergic to certain foods, whether certain foods are good for you or not, maybe decisions that you want to make. You can literally use it for anything. Now, how to use it for yourself though? You're welcome, got a solution. So you can link your fingers, okay, like this. And essentially the concept is the same. So if you want to ask yourself a question, if you're telling the truth, the link will be strong. And if you're lying, you won't be able to hold the link. And give you an example. Hi, my name is Jacqueline, and I am an Australian actress living in Los Angeles. Okay. I am a blue alien from the planet Alkaline. See, already it's like, I feel like it's starting to loosen up. Maybe I'm really an alien, but already the grip is much more loose. So I encourage you, just take a moment, maybe do it right now, practice it, just see how it feels. Here's the thing. So when it comes to food, what I would do at that point, when I was healing myself and my relationship with food, I would essentially start asking questions with everything. So I would go, for instance, to the supermarket, and I know it probably looked weird at the supermarket, but I would do this. I would look, for instance, at a piece of fruit, and a piece of fruit or vegetable, and I would touch it and I would say, is this good for my body? Is this something that you need? And then I would do the practice. Do I need more carbohydrates? I would do the practice. Do I need more protein? Do the practice. And long story short, I kept this practice up until I found foods and vegetables that really aligned with what my body at the time felt that it needed to basically recover and heal. And I also wanted to find foods that really were just genuinely healthy. I understood obviously during the recovery that I was going to put on a little bit of weight and then eventually get back down to the weight that I wanted my body to be at, or at least at its best. And essentially that was one of the practices, one of the many practices that I did to heal my body, to recover, to give it the nutrients and the vitamins and all of the things that essentially my body needed. Now, one of the things, this is, by the way, I'm not advertising this for anybody. You do you, boo, okay? But I essentially, through this practice, realized that animal products were really toxic for my body. There were a few reasons for that. Number one, I am incredibly connected to animals. I'm incredibly connected to energy. And one of the things that I realized for me, essentially, that becoming vegan became one of the best things that I could ever do for myself, because I felt guilty eating the food, and I was already feeling guilty eating food in general. So this is, by the way, not something that I recommend for anybody who's using it as a restrictive practice. If anything, I'm eating 6 times, 7 times more than what I was eating before, because I have no guilt. I feel like the relationship with my food became a healthier relationship. I obviously did a lot of research on the vitamins, nutrients, and minerals, and essentially it led me to being vegan for now, I think 15 years, 10, 15 years. I was vegetarian first and then I became vegan. But long story short, that was my journey and I love it. It works for me. I've never been healthier. I've never been happier. I've never been more proud of myself for the recovery that I've done. I don't even think about my eating disorder anymore or starving myself. I have plenty of food and I also exercise a lot because I love working out. So this is one of the practices. Now, you guys, when it comes to your health as well, you can ask it for really anything, products that you may be using on your body, or practices, exercise. Should I go to work out? Do I need to work out? Am I overexhausted? Anything at all. So this is one of the practices that I highly, highly recommend that you can begin to use for yourself. The next practice, this one's a little bit more, well, how can I say it? You need to take a little bit of time for this, but this is another incredibly powerful practice that helped me essentially heal my back. So I've had lower back problems now for many years. This is an issue that happened when I was trying to heal my body and I would over-exercise at one point in my life. I was trying too hard, I wasn't listening to my body, and I was pushing it too hard. And one day I did a weird movement and essentially I must have moved a disc or something and I tweaked my lower back and I was in bed. I could not walk for 1 week it essentially, like, my body looked like it was on some kind of a weird angle, and incredibly excruciatingly painful. So it was like a nerve pain, and I was bedridden for a week, and it took, I mean, even after that, my back basically was just never the same. It was always kind of inflamed or in pain. It took me to go to a chiropractor, and with the chiropractor, it took several chiropractors to find the right one. Anyway, you get the story. This is like an ongoing issue. And I was like, okay, so what's going on here? I mean, obviously I tweaked it physically, we get that. There's also, I truly believe there's spiritual and emotional links to this. So lower back usually has to do with your past. Lower especially is around your base and sacral chakra. So this is to do with your sensuality, your self-expression, your financials. And eventually it actually moved up even to my shoulders. So carrying the world on your shoulders, too much stress, too much, you know, you get the gist. You should look it up though. Definitely, if you have any issues with your body, look up the meaning for it, because it usually there's some information there. But getting down to the nitty-gritty of it, essentially, I've discovered psychography, also known as automatic writing. Now, this is a technique that a lot of psychics and mediums use to essentially channel information, but I believe it was, I don't know if it was Freud or Carl Jung. No, I'm having a mental blank right now. I think it was a Freudian technique where essentially you activate the subconscious mind to get information. So this is actually also used in therapy. Now, the idea behind it is that you want to basically calm down the mind and access information by writing. Now, there's a few things that you can do with this. You can use it really, psychography, you can use it for everything and anything. You can use it to gather information from your higher self, to channel information from some higher power, God, from parts of you, internal parts of you, emotional internal parts of you. Let's just say when I used to work in rehab, I would often ask the clients to channel the part of them that is the addict and the healed self. So they would do two different exercises. So honestly, you could do it with anything. So I realized at that point, well, why don't I talk to my back? Literally, why don't I ask questions to my lower back? And at this point, my back had started to get a little bit better, but I was like, it's still just not at a place where I'm feeling comfortable. There's still constant pain. It's manageable, but I'm just in chronic pain, basically. And we're talking years now, like at least 2 or 3 years into this. So the idea essentially is very simple. So you want to get pen and paper. I don't have pen and paper now, but you can just get pen and paper, and you want to set a timer. Now, I really recommend 10 minutes, guys. I know it sounds like a long time, but once you get into it, you kind of get into a meditative state. And the reason why you need to do it for a certain amount of time is because often we give up just when we're about to get the information that we need. Now, very important information here with psychography. Number 1, do not stop writing. You cannot stop writing. The 10 minutes that you're going, you just keep writing whatever comes out of your head. Number 2, don't worry about punctuation. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about any of that. That is not the point of it. The point of it is that you're allowing the information to come through and you're writing down the first thing that comes to you. Number 3, you need to ask a question to a specific entity, person, body part, emotional aspect, whatever. So this is how you do it. To my lower back, speak to me and through me anything that I need to know right now on how to heal you. Or to my lower back, how can I heal you? However it is. So you need to ask a question to a certain thing, part of your body. You can even say to my higher self, but today we're focusing on the body. So if it's your shoulder, to my shoulder, to my mind, to my head, whatever it is. And then what is it that you want to get the information from it? So for me was, what do you need from me to help you heal? And the idea is, guys, once you start writing, like I said, you start the timer and you do not stop. And if you get blank and you're not hearing anything, you're not feeling anything, and you don't want to just make up words, and it's going to feel like you're making it up, by the way, but you got to trust the process. Just write blah, 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 or repeat the question over and over and over again. Now, for those of you who are control freaks, this might be a little challenging, okay? But I do encourage you to push through to do it for the 10 minutes. For those of you who are a little bit more creative and loose, this might be a little bit easier as an exercise. Long story short, the information that I received out of this practice was that I needed to strengthen my back. My back was really weak. Thus the issue, everything was pulling forward and I was putting too much pressure on the front and my back had to overcompensate and work overtime. So long story short, I started doing back workouts. Throughout my workouts, all of my workouts, I just simply started to do back workouts. And it completely changed my life. I do not have any more back pain. If I do anything to tweak it, now I know what I can do to repair it and restore it. And it is, for those of you who have back pain, you know what I'm talking about. It is awful. I mean, you can't walk, you can't get out of bed, you can't do anything. It is incredibly painful. So it changed my health. It changed my relationship with my body. And now whenever anything comes up, I use these practices essentially to help myself heal. So if you, for instance, have the flu, what foods are going to help you to heal and repair your system much quicker? There is so much that you can do with these techniques. And essentially, it's really about building that relationship with your body, talking to your body, and trusting the intuitive information that you receive. Now, like I said, it's gonna feel like you're gonna make it up. For those of you especially who are not intuitive or who aren't into the woo-woo stuff, this is gonna feel really weird. But I promise you that once you start that conversation, information's gonna come through. And the difference between somebody who trusts their intuition and somebody who doesn't is simply that they hear it, they trust it, they follow through with it. Obviously, be mindful of what you're doing, be smart about it. Like sometimes we have intrusive thoughts, sometimes there's all sorts of negative things that can happen. So obviously just be logical here. If it tells you to starve yourself, then obviously that's not your mind and that's not your intuition, that's your ego or the aspect of you that is connected to something that is trying to keep you in a certain space. So you're gonna have to be smart enough to be able to tell the difference between the two. The best way to tell the difference between the ego and your intuition or some negative entity, even if you like, the information is negative. The information is loud. The information is going to put you down. It's going to be aggressive and it's going to have an intention. Whereas when it's coming from your higher mind, it's oftentimes comes from a sense of knowing, a sense of peace, a gentle voice, and it's often very subtle and often it will come back multiple times. It'll kind of keep giving you little nudges. So yeah, just be aware of that because that's very important and that's going to be up to you to be able to discern that. But again, once you keep the practice, once you keep doing this, you're going to get more and more familiar with that voice. You're going to eventually build a relationship with that voice. So whenever you have that intuitive nudge, you're going to listen to it, you're going to recognize it, and then you're going to follow through with it. Cool, guys. Well, I really hope that this helped. I thought I would share this information with you, and I really hope that it's going to help some of you out there who are struggling, who may be having injuries, chronic illnesses, chronic injuries, wanting to maybe become a little bit healthier. These are, of course, all things that I do. So take it or leave it with a grain of salt, but I'm sure there's some research behind that that is going to definitely help some of you. So that's it, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out some of my meditations. If you're into meditation, I have a ton, so swift through the library. And that's about it, guys, for today. So I hope you enjoyed this chat, this moment together, and I will talk to you soon. As always, have a magical day.